Welcome to this visual journey into yogic science. In this opening slide, we are introduced to a calm and centered way of understanding the mind, body, and inner experience. The theme sets the tone for a reflective exploration of how ancient practices can still offer practical guidance for modern life. This slide contrasts two very different ways of living. On one side is the usual habit of reacting with stress and confusion, and on the other is a more aware and balanced state. The message is simple. When the mind becomes quiet and attentive, our experience of life changes in a meaningful way. Here we begin to compare ordinary thinking with yogic understanding. The table suggests that while common perception tends to stay limited and restless, yogic science points toward clarity, steadiness, and deeper awareness. It is not just about belief, but about a different way of seeing and responding. The scale on this slide symbolizes a key idea in yogic science. One part of us may feel heavy, restless, or clouded, while another part can become lighter and more centered through practice. The balance between these states reflects the inner shift that yoga is meant to create. This slide highlights the contrast between a broken pattern and a more harmonious one. The shattered shape represents disturbance or fragmentation, while the radiant pattern suggests order, unity, and wholeness. It reminds us that the mind can either scatter or gradually come into alignment. In Yogic Science 1, the process of self-transformation is shown in 4 steps. We begin by becoming aware, then learn to observe more carefully, then deepen our inner insight, and finally move toward a more refined state of experience. Each step naturally supports the next. This slide explains the layers of the voice. We hear the loud, physical level first, then a subtler layer connected to thought and expression, and finally a quiet, refined level beyond ordinary speech. The point is that every voice carries more than sound alone. It also carries state, intention, and consciousness. In this section, the focus shifts to breath and vitality. The first panel shows a person moving in fear or tension, while the second suggests strength, openness, and flow. The contrast makes it clear that when energy is blocked, life feels strained, but when it moves well, the whole system changes. This slide uses the image of a vessel and inward-moving water to explain the principle of gathering energy inward. Instead of leaking attention in many directions, practice helps us collect the mind and senses. That inward movement is what creates stability, depth, and the possibility of inner silence. Yogic Science 2 introduces the idea of universal intelligence. It describes 3 essential qualities: the ability to understand clearly, the capacity to feel and relate, and the skill to act with balance. Together, these make experience more complete and help a person live in a more integrated way. This slide compares 2 kinds of physical and mental states. On one side, the body appears strained and limited, while on the other it stands upright and open. The message is that yoga is not only about flexibility or posture, it also supports a healthier, more coherent inner state. So when we ask what this path can really offer, the answer is broader than one benefit alone. It can improve focus, support emotional stability, and even help in times of physical stress. The 3 layers come together, showing that yoga works by connecting mind, body, and awareness. The Venn diagram brings the whole idea together. Physical health, mental balance, and social or relational well-being overlap, and at the center lies the deeper benefit of yoga. In other words, true well-being is not one-dimensional. It emerges when all these areas begin to support one another. This closing slide summarizes the core message beautifully. Yogic practice is not only about exercises or techniques, but about building an inner foundation of clarity, steadiness, and self-understanding. When that foundation becomes strong, life itself feels more meaningful, balanced, and complete.